Good morning. Today is going to be very good video for all the hustlers out there, all the grinders, all the men that make it happen, the actual people that, basically keep the foundation of society together. Who are those people? Those people are builders and rebuilders. Okay. Um, what I'm going to be talking about today is how to be a handyman, or the business term for it is contractor. Contractor. So the formal term is contractor. The kind of like maybe layman's term, or you could even say street term, or what most it's an old term, is handyman. You really want to refrain from using the word handyman, to be honest. You want to call yourself a contractor, and I'm going to be talking more about it today. Okay, so the question is, the first question is, why become a handyman? Okay, why should you become a handyman? Or let's just say contractor. Why should you become a contractor? A lot of time people ask, um, what is your why? The first obvious reason is everybody needs a place to live, including you, including me. You know, you need to be able to know how to change a light bulb. You need to be able to troubleshoot your home. Today, fortunately, in America and in a lot of countries, I just came back from the Dominican Republic. Uh, a lot of what you hear online about people talking about other countries, a lot of times is based off of just little blurts of information they heard from other people that a lot of times is false. When you actually travel someplace, you see exactly what's going on. And what I found out what was going on was, not only did the Dominican Republic basically not have the, like, basically bad structures and third world living, that it was like, I expected. It was like basically more quality craftsmanship, more quality construction with less means of material, because they don't really have lumber like that. Like a lot of countries like Africa, they don't have lumber like go to Home Depot, you go to Lowe's. Where I'm from, my location in the Midwest, we have a lot of Menards. I used to work for Menards in high school. Everybody that knows me know I used to work for Menards briefly. Um, when I was like 16. The amount of money that I spent on Menards way over way superseded what I made from working for Menards. And I worked at Menards briefly as a loss prevention officer when I was working security. Again, I spent way more money than what I made from working for Menards. But the thing is this. Um, Dominican Republic, a lot of countries, like, that they don't have hardware stores like that. They do have hardware stores, but the availability for lumber, other building materials, is just not there like that. So basically, they have to use old methods, such as what I found was interesting when I was over there was, instead of using like 2x4s and other pieces of lumber, they use the whole entire tree trunk. They'll use a tree trunk as far as a base piece of uh, lumber, which is really good and is solid, because the solid form of a tree is the most natural form of lumber, and it's solid and it's strong. Now, the thing is they already know that, and a lot of times people don't understand. The Dominican Republic is less than 200 miles away from Florida, so they have access to material. They just have to get it from mainland Florida, usually um, through various logistics and stuff like that. But what I found was I was amazed by the craftsmanship, amazed by the buildings that I saw over there. And the thing is this: when it comes down to it, it was almost like I needed to see that, because me actually working on my house, and I'm getting ready to work on uh one of one of my kind of mentors that taught me a lot, as far as my skills and learning more being a handyman, is that just quality of work, just making sure your work is quality, making sure you know how to do the job, making sure that you know you not only are doing a craftsmanship that is going to stand the test of time for yourself and for others. Okay, so let's go back to the why. Why be a contractor? Okay, one thing is, like I said, you're going to work on your own homes. You're going to have a house. Unless you want to be a homeless person sleeping on the street, dealing with the kindness of strangers, sleeping under an overpass, you need some type of structure to live in, whether it be a condo, it could be an apartment, it could be a townhome, house, multifamily unit. You need a place to live. You're going to live in one of those dwellings, and you need to know how to, fix things. One of the things I'll never forget, kind of watching Kevin Samuel shows, a lot of the women called in, and they had a beeping smoke alarm. And the smoke alarm is an indication of a couple things. One, um, typically women are not so much handyman. I mean, we're not programmed in school. There's gender roles that's still pretty much pushed in schools and everything like that, naturally pushed towards both men and women. But there are more um, blue collar roles that women are into now more than ever. It is not necessarily in a mass, as far as it's not that many women that actually, want to put on overalls and put on a tool belt, and get to work, right? So I don't see that changing anytime soon, but there are some women that absolutely know their way around drills, power tools, and different material and stuff like that. Yet at the same time, when it comes down to working on, different things such as like a smoke alarm, you need a ladder to get to the smoke alarm. Some people live in properties where, or live in a house, they might even just be renting a house. And some people don't want to call it landlord, as well. Like some people, they absolutely don't want to call their landlord to fix a smoke alarm. The landlord most likely will say that's something that you have to do yourself. You have to change the batteries in the smoke alarm. Um, they if you live in an apartment, which typically a lot of women live, you don't have you don't have no ladder or 6 foot or 12-foot ladder to reach a smoke alarm. So typically related to a smoke alarm, that would be something that, as far as my business, what I would charge would be like $50. That would be basically a standard truck roll. Um, Let me see what I charge. I have a website. I think it's less than that. I think my local, because I'm in the local area of the Chicagoland area. So basically, um, I within the Chicagoland area, pretty much, I can get to Northwest Indiana, the greater Chicago area, uh, different areas relatively quickly. Let me go to my site real quick and see. I believe it's either $30 or $50. And basically, that would be something that I would charge to basically just take my ladder off my truck and then uh, replace the battery of the smoke alarm. I mean, typically you're gonna have things that you need on a daily basis in your truck. So one of those things that you'll have, and I'll get to that, is basically batteries. You'll have batteries that as far as your supplies on your truck, and you would just go to your truck, get your batteries, get your ladder, replace the battery, and that's all. That's all is needed. Now, um, the thing is that simple things like that is pretty much why you should be a handyman, why you should know how to change a smoke alarm, install a smoke alarm, both um, a smoke. They have a few different types of smoke alarms. They have ones that take batteries, ones that are tied into the electric grid, or your home's electric grid, as well as um, those that have both tied into your electric grid with a battery backup. Okay, so basically, why is personally as well as even business. Okay, so people live in homes just like you do. People live in modern residential structures. Okay, they've been living in such for the last like couple hundred years. Okay, basically, a modern structure is something that has a heating element, a modern heating element, usually forced air through ducting systems. As you can see right behind me, I'm still, basically working on my house. So these are the ducts right here. These ducts here feed the air both for heating as well as air conditioning. So this is relatively new. This is only like a hundred year old, less than a 100-year-old technology. Okay, so before that, the the homes at the time, they either had a boiler, and also they had like basically wood furnaces and coal furnaces, coal fire furnaces, and also wood stoves, and as well as fireplaces to get warmth. So plumbing also is relatively new. It's around 100 years old. It's older than that as far as the technology. It goes back thousands of years, right? Different civilizations. But basically, most people live in a house. And living in a home, they're gonna spend money. They're gonna be forced also to spend money to maintain their home. That's how you make money. Um, being a contractor. Now, the also why obviously is the financial incentive. Homes are expensive. Um, my journey in working on houses throughout the decades now, houses houses are extremely expensive. Very much, very expensive. So expensive that basically it is probably the most expensive particular asset that anybody, the most common person, will probably work on. It'll be the most expensive thing that someone will even buy or try to buy or work on themselves if they're trying to renovate a house. Anybody that's renovated a house before knows the headache involved in renovating a house. So that headache is basically everyone involved in it. Okay. Um, where you come in as a contractor is you provide a service to meet someone's needs. You provide some type of service and you bridge them on the gap of getting their needs met for their the services that they need and providing some type of way for them to pay for those services, whether it be whatever types of means you do. Some contractors do payment plans, some do credit. They have like um, contracts with credit companies where they offer their clients some type of credit option for basically services rendered and as well as the materials that's needed. So a lot of times that is where that bridge cross. It can be very volatile a lot of times because here's the thing: when you're dealing with a lot of money, you're dealing with people's homes. There are some things that you want to do if you are looking to get into this business. Um, Even I would even say, just going back to kind of being a handyman, you probably you don't even necessarily have to go into business um, outside of like getting clients and customers. You can, because people are going to ask you when you go to a hardware store, when you have paint on you, you have drywall dust, you have, you know, basically you've been working on a home, on a structure, you're going to look like you work on structures. People are going to ask you questions. They're going to see, okay, this person is a handyman or some type of construction worker. Let me ask them, what do they charge? Or um, ask them some advice about something. That's going to happen when you go to a hardware store, when you're coming out of a hardware store. Depending on the situation and who's involved. Now, here's the thing: you don't necessarily have to say, "Yes, I offer services. This is my number." You don't have to do that. It's an incentive for you to be a handyman based off of the fact that you know how to rebuild structures. You know how to build structures. That incentive in itself is worth its weight in gold because, see, here's the thing. This is where you have the competitive advantage as basically being a handyman versus someone else that is not. So, for example, you got two real estate investors. One real estate investor is not handy, doesn't want to use a hammer on a nail. Another real estate investor that is handy. Okay. The real estate investor that is non handy is going to have to pay more money for fixing up a property than the real estate investor that is handy. So, for example, if you bought a house somewhere, anywhere, just, you can buy any house you want, you're going to have to either a couple things. The most expensive option, and it is the best option. It is the best option, is to contact a construction company. Established construction company already has on staffed contractors, tradesmen of all sorts, because a contractor, basically, a plumber is a contractor, an electrician is a contractor, a HVAC guy is a contractor, um, a carpenter is a contractor, a brick mason is a contractor. So a construction company has, let's just say, like Marvel Avengers, they have all of these tradesmen already working for them. They already established. They're already taking projects. They're already working on projects. They already have a portfolio of previous projects they've already completed, before after pictures. Um, they already have a reputation, most likely, and they usually also can come up with some type of timeline towards when they can finish the project. Now, that's the most expensive option. Contact, okay, you go buy a property for said amount, and you know it needs work. You're not handy. You're not touching a hammer on a nail. You're going to contact the construction company. They're going to come out, usually, probably to even do free estimates, because a construction company it's a business. So that business has, people that, it might be, if I had a construction company, I would hire someone that maybe either was a person that was an appraiser, or some type of, ideally, inspector. Someone that had someone by proxy of them at one time being a actual inspector for, basically, real estate projects, real estate construction. That's who I would hire to do my estimates. And they don't have to be currently an inspector, just have some type of background being a real estate inspector, ideally, because they know the costs involved in material. They know code really well. An inspector should know construction codes, coding standards, and they should know the cost involved, a rough cost involved, or be able to write down details so you can give a final estimate, because a lot of times you can't give an estimate on the fly. It has to be written down. It has to be formalized per, square footage, material costs, labor costs. All of those things are at play. So when it comes down to it, that's who I would, you know, basically have as my person that his job will be an estimator. That their job will be an estimator. In their they would be doing the work as well. They would, be helping out on projects as well. But a lot of times when you have a company, you have employees do multiple things. They don't just do one thing. Even for my actual my actual job, because I do all kind of things. I work in IT. I don't just image computers. I don't just you know get computers ready for other people. I do other things. I manage the inventory. I make sure the inventory is in stock. I make sure um, I repair certain computers that need to be repaired. I do a lot of other things. It's not just one or two tasks and that's it. I might have to help out with a move. Um, moving a computer from one office floor to the other. You know, monitor, a printer. It's a lot of different moving parts. What's going on, Alonzo? Salute. Um, Basically, it's a lot of moving parts involved with a lot of companies. A lot of companies now, that's what they have to do. They have to kind of consolidate one job with two jobs or even three jobs. So the thing is that that's what I would do. I would have someone that had background as they were appraisal or insurance appraiser or just um, either some type of an inspector background, so they already know what to look for in properties, know the material costs involved, they know what's expected. They're able to give a rough estimate of how long it's going to take for the project to complete. But the first part of that person is non-handy. Is they're gonna the best thing to do if you had the means and the money, you're a non-handy real estate investor, which is typical of real estate investors. You contact a construction company, the estimator comes out, they give you a rough estimate um after, let's just say, between 1 and 3 days of how much it's going to cost, what the material costs involved, labor costs and everything, to fix your property up to make it whatever you want to do with it. You want to rent the property out, or you want to put the property on the market and resell it. That's what the construction company is going to do. They're going to give you an estimate. It's usually going to be the most expensive estimate. Going to a construction company to basically get your property fixed up in its entirely, a construction company can already do that. It's the most expensive option because they have everyone that can do the job. Anything that they don't do, they'll subcontract out to other people to do, or other tradesmen. Like, let's say they don't have an HVAC guy, and part of their budget, they're going to subcontract that job, pay an HVAC company that already have an established business to come out and do that work. That's what. So basically, what I'm saying is, a construction company option, first option, the best option, most expensive option is like you taking, like, for Lonzo, he has a Mercedes Benz, which I had, and I actually worked I had years ago, well over, at this point, a decade ago. I used to get service calls to a Mercedes Benz dealership in Orland Park. Okay, uh, and I saw some. Their computers would go down, so I would come out there. It was good money too. It was very easy money, good money. I would come out there I would reimage one of their mechanics workstations that they used in their shop, and you'd have all of these, people that have Mercedes Benzes are typically middle class or higher. They'd be sitting in the weight room, drinking their coffee, their tea, free, of course, and of course water, watching whatever's on the news or whatever's on the TV at that time. This is about probably 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And, I saw some of those bills. Glancing, doing the work, I saw some of the invoices, and it was quite costly, but it was typical. And it's like, okay, what I'm saying is contacting a construction company is very typical of you having a car, and let's say you got a Cadillac, you taking your Cadillac car because it's something going on with it, um, to GM to get repaired, to a GM dealership, a GM service center to get your Cadillac repaired. That's the best option. They make the cars. They have GM certified mechanics. They know how to work on Cadillacs because they made the Cadillacs. So that's the most expensive option, though. Again, it's the most expensive option. The best option, but the most expensive option. Okay, we're talking about a non-handy person that does not, you know, want even hammer a nail. They need someone else to fix the property up. Now, first option again, contact a construction company. Best option. Most expensive option though. So after 1 to 3 days, the guy, um, or girl or lady contacts, gets contacted back from the construction company or the estimator for the construction company. Uh, the house is basically what would be called a full gut renovation that's needed. Full gut meaning the house, it needs to be fully gutted. The all of the drywall need to be taken out, ripped down to the bare studs. Electrical is not working. Plumbing is not working. HVAC is not working. It's no furnace. Um, some of the duct work is needed. There are structural issues with the some of the floors, some of the steps into the basement, concrete work that's needed in the basement, foundational leakage in the basement. I'm talking about my house. All of the things that I've worked on, you know, um, they give you an estimate. And it also you need a new roof, need some siding. They give you an estimate of $75,000. 75,000, which in my particular area at the well, yeah, right, it's right around what you could buy a house that's fully been renovated. That's been fully renovated, like a real small house. That's the cost that would be involved um in the renovation. Now, to add to things, let's say you didn't buy the house for 50,000, you bought it like I did for $10,000 or less. That 75,000 in today's market wouldn't be that bad because it's expensive, but you're going to, you know, let's say you're going to rent the property out. Let's say you're just going to flip it. You're out of at that point $85,000. The house can be sold for 130 or 145 because they're gonna put bells and whistles in the property and it's going to sell for, a decent amount. You got the money already. You're going to pay that $75,000, and then, they're going to fix the property up and then they give you a 6-month turnaround because, this, it's extensive work that's needed. So that's going to be added to one of their projects. They're going to, if they can get it done quicker, they're going to obviously get it done quicker. It's in their incentive as a construction company to get the work done quicker. Okay. So that's the first option, non-handyman investor, real estate investor. The second option is you hire the contractors yourself. Like you kind of in essence be your own GC. That's kind of pretty much what I did, but not fully because I'm not a non-handy real estate investor. I'm a handy real estate investor. So a lot of the stuff I did myself, or even if I was there, which I was most of the time, I'm helping out. I'm learning from the contractors doing the work because I'm hiring them to help me out on something I need help with. So that gives me an opportunity to learn more. Now, second option, you hire contractors yourself. Can you save money doing that? Yes, you can. Can you lose money doing that? Yes, you can. Because if you don't know how to hire the right people, if you don't have already a team ready to go, um, you're gonna deal with delays in time getting things done. You're gonna deal with people not showing up, people not finishing the work possibly. It's a lot of things to deal with being a GC. A lot of times, most often, a GC already has a team of people that they know to work with. If you're doing something off the fly, this your first property or second property or whatever, you in a new area, you don't know anybody. You have to assemble a team. Again, it's a possibility you can make money, save money in that scenario. It's a possibility that you could lose money and also lose even more valuable time because you got to deal with all of these headaches of assembling people and all of that. Now, I can tell you wholeheartedly, it's ways around that. It's ways to make things better, but we're not gonna go into that today. But it's a possible way you can save, let's just say 20 grand or more by doing GCing the project yourself. Basically contacting contractors, making sure they get done with all the projects needed on the property. A lot of times people have a hard time. Most of the people that you see complaining online, even myself, about contractors running off with their money, not completing stuff on time, is the people that either non-handy investors and even handy investors that need someone to come out and install like a AC unit, furnace unit, uh, doing duct work, whatever, because all handymen or contractors don't know how to do everything. A plumber ain't doing electrical. Some plumbers do know how to do electrical. It depends. Most electricians don't do plumbing. They're electricians. They went to school to be electricians. They don't do plumbing. They might know a little bit. It depends on the person's skill set, but usually it's just like IT. A person in IT that works on hardware, they not doing Python advanced Python programming. They're just not. They do hardware work. They take a hard drive out of a laptop, a desktop, and they put it back in and they install a operating system on it. They're not programming no operating system or no program. That's just how that works. So basically, you have to hire people out individually that do particular projects, and that's a lot of headache for a lot of people. That's most of the complaining that you hear from other people. They're just basically hiring people for projects for a rental property, a property they've been working on. That's where most of the headaches are involved in real estate, with people dealing with tradesmen coming out trying to do the work. Now, again, so that's the second option. The third option is you be a contractor yourself and you work on your own property. You work on your own property. You basically come up with a plan. You should already have a system. Ideally, you're, you know, not necessarily living in the property or anything like that. You're far from the property, and you have a list of your material cost that's needed. You know what's needed. You can even get a inspector if you're not 100% sure about what's needed. You can get an inspector to come out. Okay, this is what's needed. This is what's needed. This is what's needed. And then you get all of these lists together, and then you come up with some type of plan of how to get your property together. And then you're going to be doing most of the work or all of the work. That's where you save the most money. And that's not me talking about, you know, you go get into business being a handyman contractor. You're doing it just for your own personal gain. You're being a handyman, a contractor to, you know, basically save yourself money and also do the work yourself. And that's the one of the incentives and the best incentive of why you should be a handyman, or you know um why I'm doing this video, because a lot of times that's what is like. Even I got a college buddy that he work in construction, and I can tell he's intimidated by buying fixer uppers. A lot of people are intimidated by buying fixer uppers. Why? The title of what I just said, fixer upper. Nobody want to fix up nothing. You know, the fact of fixing abandoned property is very, very daunting for most people, including myself. Okay. Um, but the thing is that some people like the challenge of it. I'm not gonna say I do. I mean, it's not bad, but ideally, the best option you want to choose is the less fixer upper as possible when you buy real estate, obviously. But I am not intimidated by fixer uppers. Okay, obviously, I work on fixer uppers. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. So third option, being your own handyman, fixing up your own properties, learning as you go, you save money. Obviously, if you are comfortable dealing with the public, dealing with people, you can take on work for other people. Like you can work for, you can bid on government contracts, local, state, federal, I believe. You know, and basically put bids in, and also deal with consumers, residential, commercial customers or clients offering your services. And that is the better incentive for it, because that's, you're going to be heavily worked, you're going to make a lot of money, obviously doing it because a lot of people need work. And if you build up a good reputation, you offer good craftsmanship, people are going to contact you. People are going to, keep contacting you, and you're going to be overworked usually, and then you'll have to hire other people and certain things like that. So we got through with the why you should be a contractor. Now, after the why, basically is because you have an incentive on being a contractor. What do you need to do to get started? Well, let's just say, what do you need to get started? Okay, so let's just give two options: non-client option versus non client option. Meaning you're gonna take on clients or you're not gonna take on clients. You just want to learn how to work on houses. You want to have a hobby where you fix one or two houses every year and you flip them or you rent them out. You rent them out to people. You Airbnb. You become an Airbnb host or whatever, with properties. You just have a personal incentive to be a handyman. So, first option, non-client option. What do you need to get started? You don't. So the client option is obviously a lot different than the non-client option. It's a lot easier for me to explain this. You're going to need basically obviously tools. You don't need no license. You don't need to necessarily go to no school or anything like that. It's an incentive for you to do that if that's what you wanted to do. But usually people that do that, they're not doing it for to just not take on clients. Usually they do that so they can actually get in the field and take clients. Now, YouTube has a lot of resources for you to learn how to um, be more handy, even be a handyman. Um, it is vastly um, resources on YouTube, resources online. Uh, I'm adding to the resources. That's why I'm doing this video. Now, you need basically, obviously, some tools. You just need to start wherever, whatever you got. Obviously, you need a hammer. We could just start with that. You need a hammer. I would suggest a sawzall for starters. It's called a sawzall. Obviously, you need power drills. There's different types of power drills. You don't want any like little small power drills where it's like, okay, like my mother, my late mother, um, I still have my mother's drill. My mother's drill is like I think it's like a 12-volt Ryobi or something like that. It's just a little drill that you put like maybe you want to hang a picture, a screw for to hang a picture. It's very light. Like I mean, I use it for. It's very good working with electronics because you don't really want something too powerful to work on electronics. So it's very good for that. But I have like it's like a light drill. Um, that's good to have, but I don't want you to waste any time and any money. You want to get something more robust. You want to get like a 20-volt no less than an 18-volt cordless drill. If let's just say you're on budget, you don't have the money. They still have corded drills. Those are old fashioned, but they have corded drills. Okay. Um, those actually are really powerful because they're corded, and they have a lot of times more torque and stuff like that, and they're cheap because they're corded, because obviously you need electricity source to use that corded drill. Now, it's you got to understand, you going into a world where, like, for example, my house, it had no electricity. I had no electricity for almost 2 years before um I was able to get electricity. So basically, you either have um and it's an option as well. It's more advanced, it's more expensive, and it kind of goes with what I'm talking about. If you can, you would want to have basically a generator. Okay. You want to have a gas generator, because, and then here's the thing. At the time I bought my generator, I was all hot shot. I mean, it was my first, you know, seller financing home. I finally got a contract, house, and it was a good deal. And I got all of this land and this house, and I'm making money, and I'm a boss, and I'm the finance man and all of that. I went to Harbor Freight. I don't know if Harbor Freight's all over the United States. I think they are. I went and bought a brand new generator, and I was kind of like, kind of pissed off at one of my college you know alumni that, whatever, didn't, let's just say some let's just say, like, a lot of times when people try to rehash and kind of be cool again with other people, it's a reason why y'all wasn't cool with each other, and y'all went y'all separate ways. One person just wasn't equitable toward the other person. That's usually how that works. So he was like, he had a generator, and he said I could borrow it. When it came time for me to call him to borrow the generator, no, no pickup. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go buy me a generator. I got money. I don't need your generator. You know what I'm saying? This is not the 1990s where you had to ask, your high school classmate for 50 cent for a bag of chips. I'm well beyond that. I mean, I'm I mean, I had a Benz at the time that I fully upgraded. You know what I'm saying? I had a little coins. So I was like, oh, let me go Harbor Freight and buy a brand new um generator. I think I spent like a little less than $400 for it. Don't do that. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't be Mr. and Mrs. Hotshot. Go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, whatever, the flea market. Get you a generator for about 150 bucks. That's used. I mean, obviously, you at the flea market or whatever, they going, or the pawn shop. The pawn shop has, oh my God, far as tools, the pawn shop is tool heaven. That's where tools, go to the upper room and you go buy them for cheap. And of course you got eBay. Um, I mean, you don't. I wouldn't even suggest buying any brand new tools to start, because um you don't need to buy a brand new. I don't suggest you even to buy a brand new, because you trying to get in the game. You obviously don't, most likely you trying to get in the game because you need some money. You trying to, you got a hairstring budget. you know don't buy brand new tools. Most often you're gonna come with tools. You already probably have a power drill. You already have, tools. If you're a man, you already have tools. That just comes with being a man. Let's just keep it real. Like, you already got a drill, you already got a hammer, you got some screwdrivers. You know what I'm saying? You just gonna add to what you already have. You definitely need a saw. You need, um, the generator is an option because obviously a lot of homes, they don't have, you know, the electrical. The house has been abandoned for a while. They turn the electricity off from the grid, or somebody did something, whatever. It's no electricity. You can get a generator. You probably gonna need it eventually. You don't have to get it to start. You can also rent generators. I think it's like $50 for like so many hours at like Home Depot or something like that. If you need one, it's not a big thing. But the thing is that after the sawzall, you're gonna need a circular saw. A lot of these things you probably already have, but you're gonna need a circular saw. You don't have to get the circular saw that is battery powered or wire, or pretty much battery powered. Those are more expensive. You don't have to get those. You can get the corded one, but you just got to keep in mind, you got to be around electricity. A lot of times, I'll say also, you'll need about 200 feet electrical, like, insulated cables. But the reason why I say two, because one might not be enough. It might be a situation that you might have to ask a neighbor that ain't even your neighbor yet, maybe, I don't know, to hook up to his electricity so you can use your tools in an emergency. Say it's emergency or something like that. You might have to, is another thing. You don't have to have a generator. Got a car. If your car battery is decent, you can get an inverter. You can get a good inverter that will plug into your car's DC outlet for like $100. A decent one that's powerful enough to use a power tool or two. So you can put that, in your car, depending on how much work you got, you'll be all right. I don't suggest doing that, because a lot of times it's more than just you need to use the tools for an hour or two. You don't want to be somewhere stranded with a dead battery because you trying to save $50, or $100. Is you want to spend the money. You're gonna make the money in the long run. Either way it goes. So, circular saw, um, a corded one. I think the ones with the battery is like $100, 100, around 125, 150, $100, depending on you might have some sales. And again, eBay is your friend. Why did I not say Amazon is your friend? Amazon is a little bit okay. Amazon is more bougie than eBay. Okay. Um, Amazon actually used to be like eBay. Just as like the Wild Wild West. It was like the flea market. Bezos, he went full corporate, full bougie, full full elite mode. You can't to sell on Amazon, you need to have a corporate business model, damn near, to sell on Amazon. You have to upload invoices. You have to show where you got merchandise. Um, you know, the merchandise that's on Amazon, it costs more than it does on eBay. That's why, you know, I prefer eBay. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot of things involved. Like it could be somebody that's desperate that just needs some money and they can literally post something, and I shouldn't laugh because I was one of those individuals that was desperate that, you know, um put something on eBay and it sold within 30 minutes or an hour because someone knew that price. That was a steal. Somebody bought it. Amazon doesn't really work like that. Amazon is just, it always was different than eBay. It typically took longer to sell stuff, but you would sell it for more money. But the thing is, we talking about buying. You gonna typically get better deals off of eBay than Amazon as far as tools. Now, where Amazon comes in, that's good, is that custom fixtures for your house. Amazon has a whole bunch of fixtures that you can buy, custom fixtures that they don't have in no hardware store. Um, because when you are rebuilding a house, renovating a house, it's a canvas, it's art. You know, your designs um, are your artistic expression. People gonna contact you based off of that. You show them your portfolio, your before and after. They see all of these marble tile floors you install. They see these bathrooms. They see the flooring is impeccable. Whatever you've done, electrical work, all of that is your, you know, craftsmanship. You know, you do want like to have some type of wow factor when it comes to your design. Yeah, you could go to Home Depot and get typical stuff, but you just got to understand it's like this. Home Depot and Lowe's, other hardware stores, it's like going to Walmart to buy clothes. Okay, this shirt, for example, this shirt, I had to go to a store that was not typical to get this shirt. Okay, um, this shirt I couldn't get necessarily at Walmart or Target even. You know, I actually I got it at, it is a store called Cabela's. Okay, um, so the thing is that that's kind of how, you know, real estate, you know, home fixtures and stuff like that are. They're Amazon has a lot of custom stuff that you can buy. That's where Amazon comes in at. But as far as tools, best option, use either flea market, eBay, uh, Facebook Marketplace, and also like eBay. I got a tool right now, uh, a towel laser leveler. Spent like $100 for it. Brand new would have cost me almost $200. Somebody didn't need the tool no more, whatever the case may be. However they got it, I needed it. It was used. I I saved $100. I don't need the instructions. I don't need the original box that comes in. I just need the tool. So that's another option. If you're going to do tile, if you know you're going to do tile work, you do need some type of laser leveler. That's another tool that you're going to need. You don't need lasers. Yeah, you if you want craftsmanship, you want quality level craftsmanship. You don't want your, you know, stuff to be all crooked and everything. You're gonna need some type of laser leveler. Um, you know, and also you're gonna need a leveler. You know, you're gonna need basically a leveler, so you make sure, you know, things are level. You know, you're gonna need a plumb tool if you're dealing with framing. You gotta make sure the house is plumb. There's different videos that talk about all of these things, and even how to use the tool. If you buy a tool, there's videos on how to use the tool. Somebody did a review on it. It's all kinds of stuff. Another tool that you're gonna need is a brad nailer. You're gonna need a brad nailer. Why? Uh, the old-fashioned way of hammering nails in, that grandpa did it. We love grandpa. He he retired now. Um, he used to hammer nails the old-fashioned way. We have air tools. We have um, battery powered tools now that are more effective than the modern hammers, torque, power. That's what we use in modern times. Are you still going to use a hammer? Yeah, you gonna use a hammer. Hammer is gonna come in handy. That grandpa's hammer still going to be utilized quite often. Okay. I use I was using a hammer uh you know just yesterday. Okay. Hammer, you're still gonna use a hammer, but as far as power tools, we going with power tools. Okay. We want, in order to build the house fast, rebuild the house, renovate the house, whatever language you want to use, to do it fast, to do it effective, power tools is what you're gonna need. Okay. So we got the brad nailer. The next thing you're gonna need is, if you're going to deal with drywall, you're gonna need a T square. Okay, a T square is, it helps you measure the drywall, cut the drywall with the T square. That's what you're gonna need. You also gonna need, obviously, a ruler. You know, um, these are just basic tools. Okay, just basic tools. Another thing, obviously, you're gonna need is a tool belt. Go need a tool belt. You're gonna be walking around. You don't want to be carrying a hammer. I mean, 9 times out of 10, here's the thing: if you're carrying, like, let's say you're carrying drywall, you don't want to have your you carrying a drill, or you carrying a hammer in one hand. You need your hands free so you can carry the drywall and also have your tools with you. You need a tool belt. So um I'm trying to think of what other things that you're going to need. If you're dealing with plumbing, a lot of modern plumbing is either PEX or CPVC or PVC. For CPVC, which is just kind of plastic tubing plumbing, you're gonna need basically a PVC cutter. It's just something that cuts the plastic piping. That's typically what you'll need. As far as the material to use on the PVC piping, you can get that as needed. You don't have to buy that until you. That's basically if you actually are doing a lot of plumbing, or if you got a plumbing project. That's just something that you're gonna go to get before you start the plumbing project. If you're dealing with PEX, you're gonna need a PEX tool. The PEX tool is like a little shy of $100. It's worth it, but it is expensive. Typically, some people don't even have a PEX tool because it's kind of pricey. I found one at the thrift store for $5 after so many years, and I don't even have PEX. But if I plan on doing PEX in the future, I have the tool. So the thing is that outside of Plex and PVC, people still use old fashioned copper piping. For that, there's copper tools. I don't deal with copper piping. I don't have any copper tools. Now, will I do that in the future? Yeah, I probably will. Um, well, technically, I do have copper tools. I have a blowtorch. Okay, I have a blowtorch, so that's typically what you would use for basically soldering the piping for the copper piping. But you need other tools for copper piping. Just look it up on a video. Look it up. If you're gonna, deal with, if you're going to be a handyman, it's best to learn as much as you can so you can basically do the job. If you're going to, either way, do it yourself or do it for other people. Copper is just, it's an old fashioned way of dealing with plumbing. It's one of the most expensive options with plumbing. It is better. It is the best, because the reason why is copper has basically properties in it that it's a disinfectant. So it disinfects the water naturally. It has certain, um, it's like something electromagnetic or something like that, that the water goes through the copper piping, and it disinfects it. Now, as far as like the quality of it and everything like that, it tends to be higher quality. It's more expensive though. It's more expensive because copper, it depends on the price of the spot price of copper and all of that, but it's very expensive. Okay, I've gotten copper pipe installed on the house before, and it was pretty costly. It was in the thousands as far as cost. But you absolutely doing it yourself, it's not that intimidating. You do need to work with fire. You basically dealing with metallurgy. You're basically um, melting solder on the pipes to make sure they're in place. You're gonna have to bend the pipes. You're going to have to like use certain tools to shape the pipe and put it in a hole. It's videos on it, but that's when it involves plumbing. Gas pipes, you're gonna need a pipe wrench or a monkey wrench. You're gonna need about two of them, because you're gonna need one monkey wrench for one end of the gas pipes and another on the other end. One is just not enough, so you're gonna need like um, at least two monkey wrenches. Uh, as far as if you're gonna I said electrocute yourself. You're gonna electric. If you're gonna deal with electricity, yeah, you're gonna get some electrodes through your bones. But um, if you're gonna deal with electrical, you're gonna need some electrical troubleshooting tools. You're gonna need like um I'll go get one, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. I mean, of course, a good voltmeter is good. It's good to start with as well to have. But this is like something you'll need. This checks circuits, make sure they're they work. They're gonna light up. I mean, you're like, oh, what do you need this for? You plug a power cord in there. It'll tell you it work. Well, this does more than that. You can kind of see on it a little bit, camera, depending on. Okay, well, it basically tells you if it's an open neutral, if it's an open ground, if it's open hot, uh, hot and ground reverse, hot and neutral reverse, correct wiring. It's going to flash and tell you more details about that actual outlet you plug this in. This here, all of this stuff here, this is for troubleshooting. This is a wire tracer. You could trace wires with this. This also, I use this for networking. This is also used for low voltage cabling, which is basically Ethernet cabling, and also like phone cabling as well. But this is like kind of very similar to that tool where you plug in, because what this does is you plug this in the outlet, and basically it works in conjunction with this here, and you find a circuit where this is plugged into. So you turn it on, and then it finds the circuit. So that way you can find out what's going on and trace it to the actual circuit that's in the circuit breaker that is in your electrical panel or electrical box. So yeah, these are some tools if you're gonna deal with electrical, um, wiring. These are some tools that you're gonna want to get. You don't have Some people don't deal with a. I know carpenters, union carpenters. They don't deal with no electrical. They don't deal with no plumbing. They just they make decks. They build bedrooms like carpenter, a union carpenter build my third bedroom. That's what they do. They don't deal with any electrical, no plumbing. Um, obviously, like people are very very concerned dealing with electrical. Because obviously, it's a lot involved with that. And then this is what this has in it. That's why I said, like, this is used for networking as well. So it has, you plug this into basically a LAN biscuit, a LAN connection, and you can troubleshoot that LAN connection and other, that's coax. I was a cable installer too. I used to work for Comcast. I used to install cable for Comcast. So I've been all over the place. So I used to watch MacGyver. When I came up, I used to watch MacGyver. So and Inspector Gadget. So but the thing is that those are some tools if you're gonna deal with electrical, you can get to troubleshoot. And they have different types of stuff that you can get. You don't have to get any particular brand or anything. You get the best brand that you want to work with. And of course they have stuff that's more expensive that give you way more information, more detail and stuff like that. So um that's just, again, if you're going to be working with electrical outlets, that's something that you want to look into getting some tools for that. Good morning, NC worker. Okay. So what type of work do you do in NC? NC worker. Are you in the trades? But the thing is that, yeah, so that's that. I'm trying to think of what else you need. So we already talked about plumbing, electrical. You don't have to worry, but you don't have to buy no wire. Those things are like per the job, whatever job you got. That's that's typically what you would get when you already get a job or you have a job already, um, you're gonna get like wiring and stuff like that. Um, another thing you're gonna get. Let me go get it. This is like essential right here. Your good old electrical light. Don't watch this and then run into somebody on the road. You're gonna need this right here. Why? Again, you going into houses, possibly no electrical. You're gonna be working at night. You trying to get a house done. You're gonna do night work. You're gonna need this good old fashioned um, headlamp. You know that this is like essential. This is like basic stuff. These are not that expensive. This is like kind of high grade. Um, it's got some really bright lumens. So it's like I don't know, like 30,000 lumens or something like that. So yeah, you're gonna need something like that as well because you're gonna be working at night. You're gonna be working in places that don't have no no electricity, no lights. So you're gonna need that. Um, and then you're gonna look professional when you come into somebody's house. When you have stuff like this, when you have the tools, people trust you more. They know this person is serious. He means business. He's not bullshitting. He's got the tools for the job. So another thing you can do, and it's kind of advanced. It kind of goes with the generator, is a drywall lift. If you're gonna be dealing with drywall, you're gonna be dealing with ceilings. A lot of times, if you got help, obviously you can bypass the drywall lift, but it's still helpful to have the drywall lift because you could just put the drywall up there. It's even better than two people. You just hoist it up there, and then once you get it to the right place, you position it, make sure it's positioned well, and you put your screws in there. And that's another thing that kind of goes into what also you should get. You should get a good drywall gun, um, a manual feeder one. It is good to have, and it's basically the reason why it's good is because you don't know how many times you're gonna drop screws. I don't know how many times I drop screws trying to screw in some drywall screws. That manual feeder one, basically, it holds that screw in there, and then basically you just keep pushing it, and it automatically goes in there. They have like attachments that are used for that as well. So that might be something that you want to put. You just get a list of tools that you need. You don't have to get everything at once. You can pace yourself. I have all the tools that I have because I've I bought them. I knew I would want to use them in the future. You know, I I just get them over time. That's what you're gonna. That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get them over whatever you need. You're gonna get them over time. But just to start with, what I just said, like those are the things you just want to kind of start with. The other things, it's more advanced, more costly. You can get those later. You know, Basic stuff, just get it out the way. A lot of times is, again, if you're going to go into business with taking clients, you can just have the job pay for your tools. So let's say you do something it's gonna cost $500. The tool you need is 300. Just take that haircut of that 300. I mean that 200, or yeah, 300 out of that 500, and then just get that tool. The next person calls you, you don't have to worry about going out and buying that tool. Now you get all of the profits on the next time around. You don't have to worry about that. Now you have the tool, you know, and you didn't have to pay for it. The customer in essence paid for that tool. So that's kind of how you do things, right? On like if you was going to business for yourself. So me, I'm not taking that many clients like that, or I've worked with other people. I've helped others out, but I typically more or less I'm the handyman that just works on my own projects. I don't really have that many clients and stuff like that. So I have to buy the tools myself. But again, you won't get everything all at once. You're gonna get things over time. But you know, that's just kind of what you need to get started. Now, second option as far as going into business, actually being a contractor, being a for hire handyman, there's some things you're gonna need. Okay. Obviously, one, you're gonna need some type of liability insurance. Okay. You go into people's houses. You go into some people live in mansions. They gonna call you. You just gotta you just gotta think, this person, some rich person's gonna call me one day. You want to have insurance in case something happens. The ladder falls, smashes, custom Italian marble. You had your circular saw on a ladder. It fell. The circular saw smashes some expensive Italian marble. You know, costs $1,000 a square feet or some crazy crap like that. You broke, you know, more than that as far as square footage. You need liability insurance. You go into people's houses, And I know a lot of contractors, I know handyman don't have liability insurance. Trust me, I know that. But you don't want to be that. You want to be legit. You want to have some liability insurance in case something happens. You know, um, you can. It's a lot of things that could go wrong. You want to be able to cover yourself. Another thing, if you're going to be going into contracting, bidding on contracts, you go take a test, a local municipality. Like for example, I'm in Gary. To go take a contractor's test for Gary, you just have to know certain things as far as measurements of 2x4s, certain tools. It's like a test, and then you basically it consists of things that you would have learned taking a construction class. You know, the measurements of a ruler, um, a tape measure. Um, certain things that you kind of should know working on different materials, uh, working with rulers. I mean, measuring tapes. Certain basic knowledge of construction. Okay, let's just say um, that's what will consist of this contractor's test. And you could pass it the first time if you're pretty knowledgeable. um I don't know if they give you a guide or anything, because I never took in the test. So You should be able to pass it with just if you, depending on how skilled you are, um, how much knowledge you have as far as construction, and stuff like that. I've taken a class on construction um, for about a year, and then I took architectural classes as well because I knew I wanted to get in this business. This was going to be my future. This is this was what that's what I did. So you know you can use if you took in a construction class, you can use that as a reference. Um, I don't know if they give you some type of guide or something like that to study beforehand. Not sure, but just you could look into it. You can ask other contractors that already are licensed. The pro for being a licensed contractor is obviously you get to bid on projects. Another thing is, so in order for me to get electricity for me to talk to you today, I had to go through a licensed electrician for my city to pull a permit. They needed to be a licensed contractor with the city in order to be on a list of people to call for services that had a permit to pull in that city. It's kind of like some people call it pay to play. It's kind of like, almost like being part of the Gestapo or something like that. But whatever the case it is, it's an incentive for you to be on that list, people to call you because you're on that list of contractors. And here's another thing, third thing, why people call an incentive, why people call you, and why you should be a licensed contractor. And it both helps you and the potential client. If I call someone on the contractors list and they're shady and they ran off with my money or anything like that, they already have their whole life history. That's whatever city you're in, that contractor, they have his entire history. They know where he lives, everything. You can just, if you had to file a legal case, you have all of his information right there. And if that person wants to continue to get contracts with the city, they it's an incentive for them to be an upstanding contractor. If they're not, then their contracts are in jeopardy. The ability to maintain their contract status with the city is in jeopardy. It's a lot of things at play there, and usually, the people that are on that contractors list, um, you could pretty much kind of say it's kind of like they've been verified. And now, I mean, you have Google reviews, you have website reviews now. Those people that are on that list, a lot of them that are established businesses, they have some type of Google profile. They have some type of Yelp profile of their business. It's people that have dealt with them that gave them reviews. You can use those reviews. Uh, you know, um, with the combination of them being on that list, their reviews, I use those lists to call people that I need help with my house. I use their contractors list. So that's the incentive of being a licensed contractor. Do you have to be a licensed contractor to be a handyman? No, you don't. Um, if you know how to screw a light bulb, you're a handyman. If you know how to hammer a nail, you're a handyman. somebody's gonna call you to do that because they're not doing it. It's people that don't touch nothing and they call people for help. Especially you gotta understand you got people that are older, they need help. They need someone to do everything for them. Um, Women tend to be like that. Um, if whatever skill set you know how to do, all handymen don't know everything. Some are specialized in certain areas. Some are better at electrical work. Some are better at plumbing. Some are just more better at being carpenters, laying drywall, um, insulation. You as okay, a handyman. Let's just say you're a handyman, and really mostly what you do is just install drywall, tape, and mud. You got a team, you got a crew, and mainly what all you do is do drywall, taping, and mud. There's tons of work for you, unlimited amounts of work for you in all aspects of America, all play because that's strongly what's needed a lot of times. When you got a lot of houses that are abandoned houses. That's what I'm about to do this morning. I'm going to go help out somebody with drywall. The house was abandoned for 10 years. The roof pretty much was leaking. The drywall was molded. He had to take the drywall out, okay, and had to put a new roof in and new drywall. It's a lot of abandoned properties, especially in Gary, Detroit, different parts of Chicago, uh, different areas. There's abandoned homes. It don't even have to be abandoned. It could be a fire damaged house. It could be a flood. They have to take that drywall out, put new drywall in. It's just that simple. A lot of times people punch holes in walls, whatever. You got to be able to patch that drywall, that hole in that drywall. Uh, you have tons of work just if you just focus just on drywall. Okay, drywall is installing, mudding, taping, and then you can also do painting. Okay, there's painters. There's literally like I know you've seen someone walk around with like white overalls or whatever, white you know pants, and they got paint on all over them. Their job is just being a painter. It's tons of work for painting. People that need to prime and paint, like it's unlimited amounts of like work that's needed for just someone painting a house. You know what I'm saying? Like 9 times out of 10, you probably help your mom and dad paint your family home because they didn't want to pay anybody else and whatever. You did it. Now, just imagine how many people need drywall. How many people you can just be a painter and actually be a handyman as well. um you don't even have to deal with drywall. You just be a painter, just do priming and painting, and you got tons of work, tons of people that's gonna call you because nobody want to paint. And then definitely, I'll promise and tell you, don't nobody want to install no damn drywall either. Okay. Um, it just it's a lot of work involved when it comes to walls. I mean, it is tons of work involved. And the finishing of that is priming and painting. You're still a handyman. You still considered a handyman. Just if you just did that alone, you got tons and tons of work, tons of people that's gonna be calling you. Um, and if you smart like myself, you got one of these that I use on my closet because you're not, you got freaking PTSD from painting your family home growing up. Paint gun, clear the room and just use a paint sprayer. Save a lot of time, a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? Just use a paint sprayer. So um again, that's a couple things. It's a couple things that you can do to get started. You can get started right away. Um a lot of people, one of the reasons I did this video, because a lot of people are kind of like um handyman averse when it comes to houses. Like, they're intimidated when it comes to working on houses. It is intimidating, but it's just it's based off of it's a lot of it is labor. It's hard work, and a lot of times people kind of don't want to be involved with that. I'm sure, but all I can say is, if you don't want to deal with that, you gotta make sure you able to basically pull credit. Because I mean, it's nowhere around it. Like, as far as, you're either going to do the work or pay somebody else to do the work. The only way around it is paying someone to do the work. And if you are paying for someone to do the work, obviously you need the money to pay them. A lot of people use credit. They pull from banks, they pull from their own credit cards. That's what some people are doing. And then also, people are um basically using private funding, you know uh hard money lenders, stuff like that, to get the funding to renovate projects. So I've said quite a bit. I'm gonna get off of here and get ready for this work that I have to do. um if you got any questions, any comments, if you want, send this to someone that you might think is uh kind of need a little pep to get started. They kind of somewhat handy. Send them, share this video. And just think about, when you purchasing a home, do you want to do it yourself, or do you want to pay somebody else to do it? Just some the things to think about.